and I was sentenced to death. Fortunately or unfortunately, just before I was convicted, Kibaki, late President Kibaki, had commuted the sentences of prisoners serving death to life. And there'd been a big riot in committee just before that. So I was taken to Condemn A, which is where prisoners like Ochuka was hanged. I was sleeping less than 20 meters away from the hanging spot. And we had a TV at the time there, and the TV was put right in front of the door where prisoners would take their last steps before being hanged, because there was no other place to put it. Kama nimeshika chali, naongea kama dem. Kama nimeshika dem, naongea kama chali. Because the main thing about the message was that, have you found me a partner yet? Na bado mimi ni Muhindi, so if I've gotten a Kenyan, see their sayings, once you go black, you don't go back, bloody, bloody, blah. Okay, my name is Rashii, but everyone calls me Rashii. That's like Rashid without the D. I was born in 1981 in Nairobi. I studied in Nairobi for primary, secondary, and then went to England to do my higher education. Came back in 2002 and started working with my father.
Okay. Maybe today, what do you have for us today?
My experience in different prisons in Kenya.
Oh, how many prisons have you been?
4.
Which one and which one?
Industrial Area Remand, Committee Main, Nevasha, Committee Medium.
My viewers, leo tunabadilisha vitu kidogo, tunafanya mambo kuwa tofauti kidogo, manake anataka kutupea life experience yake, jinsi ambavyo alijikuta tu kwa hizo prison zote. Mimi sijui, lakini yeye ndiye akona story yote full, na atakuwa akimix sana Kizungu, sometimes Kiswahili kidogo, lakini tutamwachia nafasi aweze kubonga kwa Kizungu. So wale ambao mnasemanga hamsikii, leo nimewaletea mtu ambaye atawaelezea msikie. So bro, how did you find yourself in prison?
In 2008, I was accused and I was taken to remand.
Okay.
I finished my case very, very quickly, and I was sent to committee because I was sentenced to death. Committee Main. I spent from 2009 December 6th till April 14th, 2019 on death row and life. After having my sentence commuted to 20 years in prison, I was taken to Committee Medium. And in between, when I was in Committee Main, I had lost my life, become a drug addict. I was taken to Nevasha as punishment, but I managed to find my way back to Committee.
Wait, before you take us to Naivasha, remand life, how was it?
Remand life, it's just one word, finding yourself on the wrong side of the law, nothing else. But as I always say, and I believe, chukua maisha vile itakupata.
Chukua maisha vile itakupata. So, unaanzia remand ulianzia wapi? Industrial area or committee?
Industrial area. Mstaka yangu ilikuwa murder. So, there was no bond bail for murder suspects till 2013 when the new constitution came into place.
Okay, okay.
So, I was there for 11 months in total.
This is industrial area?
In industrial area.
Maybe give us your first experience in industrial area, being that you are, you said you are half Kenyan?
No, I'm citizen okay, I hold dual citizenship. I'm British and Kenyan, but by blood, I'm Indian.
Indian. So give us maybe your experience as an Indian.
When I went to remand, there were no other Indians there. In the 13 and a half odd years that I was in prison, I think there was a maximum of 10 Indians I came across, none of them with a sentence of more than a couple of years, and all of them there for offenses of obtaining or narcotics, drugs, miandarati.
So now you are in remand, your first day, your first experience.
My first experience. Well, if you've ever been to prison, you'll know that the first thing that you're taken to when you enter is the documentation office, where they take down your details, your name, where you're from, etc. And I came across a chief inspector, Mawe
Tatu.
and India didn't speak English. And my Kiswahili at the time was rudimentary, wasn't as good as it is right now. So him in his, what word should I use? Ujinga yake, because I could not relate in Kiswahili. He gave me a slap.
The first day?
First hour. First 30 minutes.
Hiyo kofi kakuamsha.
Si alisema nikabe na nilisema sijui kukaba ni nini. Si hapo tu tena aliita the following day. Alisema sorry, I couldn't contain myself. But he needed a translator, and the translator was a prisoner. So that's where my first experience of people saying that people that find themselves on the wrong side of the law, or majority of people that find themselves on the wrong side of the law are, excuse my language, but stupid. They don't have anything between their ears. And yeah, there was a boy that was Form 2, Form 3 graduate, good English, translating for a chief inspector. Does that make any sense? It doesn't. I mean, he's just on that seat because he's from a certain tribe, or he had money to bribe the recruiting.
Okay. Now, umekaba, umesha...
Sikukaba.
Ukukaba?
Sikukaba. Kwa hiyo miaka 13 sijawahi kaba. Nisema nakabanga kwa mtu mmoja tu, Mungu.
Hao wengine wote?
Wakitaka kaba wakaba.
But ni sheria ya prison
si
kwamba
nionyesha kwa cap 90 kama imeandika.
Okay. Sawa sawa. Sasa umeshamaliza documentation pale, umechukuliwa details zako. Najua kwamba sasa ni wakati ambao unaingizwa pale remand kwenda kushirikiana na wale wengine. Kule kuingia mara yako ya kwanza kuingia pale remand.
Kitu ya kwanza is that when you are going into remand, I don't know what it's like right now, but in 2008 there was a gate where you are searched at before you enter the general prison, whatever. I feel that the search that is conducted there is absolutely dehumanizing, especially when you're used to normal human touch, like what happens at an airport, or when you're entering a shopping center these days, a shopping mall.
Okay.
The way that officers touch prisoners, it's like, I wouldn't be surprised if a certain percentage of them are homosexual.
Okay.
After that, I was taken to E Block. I don't even know if it exists still today, but that's where murder suspects were remanded. I was stuck in with Kinara, the in charge of the block, because looking at my color, he thought that this inaitwa nini, rangi ya pesa. So stayed with them. I wouldn't go out for my first 2-3 weeks because you're just trying to digest everything. The food, the conditions, where you go to take a dump every morning. It's just very, very difficult to accept in those circumstances because you've got all the stress of your case and then you've been thrown into dehumanizing conditions. And then to make matters worse, I've been a smoker since I turned an adult. Find out that you're not allowed to smoke cigarettes. That's when I got my second and third slap, when officers found me smoking. Because that's the only language that they know, violence. And unfortunately, they don't realize that that's what builds up resentment towards themselves or hatred.
Okay. Now, maybe mtu anaweza uliza kule nje maisha yako ilikuwaje? Ulikuwa na maisha aina gani kabla ukuja hapa ndani? How was your life outside there? Maana umekuja hapa
unasema tu in one phrase, maisha ya tajiri. Nilikuwa na gari yangu zangu, biashara yangu. I was well to do.
Na umejikuta sasa uko ndani. Ulianza kukopa hapa aje na food hapa ndani? Kulala?
Jela ni pesa.
Na kushinda.
Jela ni pesa. There's no difference between going to rent an apartment and rent a mattress. It's just that renting a mattress costs more by the amount of square footage you're given. Food-wise at that time, luckily they had a canteen, so you could get stuff like bread, milk, etc. But going into prison, you're not used to eating bread and milk. You're not used to eating bread and milk when you're a free person. And how long can you eat that? So that's when you start playing your cards. At that time, things in remand were not that tight. So for like 5,000 shillings at the time, you could get an officer to run across to Galitos, buy your chicken and chips and bring it in. Anakuja tu kama amebeba.
Na uko remand?
Uko remand.
Na still unaweza kula venye unataka ukiwa na pesa?
Yes. Iko vitu mingi unaweza fanya ukikuwa na pesa.
Okay. Let's continue here. Your life experience ulianza kuzoea aje hii time yote ulikaa miezi 11 pale industry area?
When people started wanting to know more about me, okay, and I told you my understanding of Kiswahili wasn't that good. So there were some police officers who at least spoke English well. They would come to find out about me, find out about my case. And surviving in prison was taught to me by prisoners. No one else, no prison officer taught me that this is how you live or this is how you survive. One guy told me that rather than ordering food from outside, you can get, I'm sure you know what a mururu is.
Yeah, mururu.
You get mururu of meat for 100 shillings. And then give a cook another 100 shillings and they'll cook it well. Which is a lot better because the 5,000 shillings that you pay for a chicken will take you 2 months or a month. And you have to be economical.
Okay. Right. Maisha umesha adapt, maisha industry area. Unajikutaje umeanza kutoka industry area na umeanza kuzungushwa? Which was your next place?
Next place was committee. I was convicted and I was sentenced to death. So there's only a few prisons in Kenya. The only one that's in Nairobi area is committee. Fortunately or unfortunately, just before I was convicted, Kibaki, late President Kibaki, had commuted the sentences of prisoners serving death to life. And there'd been a big riot in committee just before that. So I was taken to Condemn A, which is where prisoners like Ochuka was hanged. I was sleeping less than 20 meters away from the hanging spot. And we had a TV at the time there, and the TV was put right in front of the door where prisoners would take their last steps before being hanged, because there was no other place to put it. And then a realization that, okay, like in industrial area, I was staying with the in charge, the Kinara. At least with him, you could use money and get your own mattress to sleep, etc. But in committee now, it was not possible, because in 11 or 12 cells, you've got 140 people. So how are you going to get your own mattress? No matter how much money you give out.
It's hard.
And then in committee again, water, big issue. They didn't have a borehole at the time. You'd pay 100 shillings for a bucket of water. But also a part of survival. Committee was the biggest eye-opener about how pathetic the prison system in Kenya is. You've got people accused of crimes that are not possible, even looking at them, and still they're convicted. So I mean the prisons and the judicial system.
Okay. Maybe somebody will ask, let's go back. We'll ask, how was your reception for the first day in committee after now been umekwambia kwamba umefungwa maisha?
Si maisha, death.
Kifungo cha kifo. Wewe mwenyewe wakati ulisikia kwamba umefungwa ile kifungo ya kifo, ulifeel aje? Na after that reception yako pale committee ilikuwaje?
Okay, so I was convicted on I was sentenced on the 6th of December 2009. I wasn't taken back to remand. Gari ya committee ilikuwa hapo tu, nikapandishwa, nikapelekwa committee. Nothing. There's times that you just can't accept it psychologically. I think it took a month or two before I even accepted that I'd been sentenced to death. It just wasn't entering my head. A reception over there, I think committee are used to dealing with hardcore criminals. So reception there were just like, I'm one of the others. I didn't know that there was a block called Detain. All that I knew is that my life is now Condemn A, because where I was put is in the front of the prison. You can't intermingle with any other prisoner apart from death row prisoners. So it's not like you've got any movement, but luckily, as I said, prison officers are so corrupt that you can't miss a phone. You can't miss food, the way that I told you that meat being cooked in the kitchen, stuff like that.
The first day you entering the prison committee, you had phone?
No, I was using someone's. At that time, I didn't have any money on me. I got of my own. Okay, wait. To use the guy's phone, you have to pay 200 shillings for 5 minutes. And you flash the person that you want, you beep the person that you want to talk to. And when that person sends you 1,000 shillings, he will calculate it as 800 and then take away 20%, So end up giving you 640 shillings in cash.
So yeye anakula mingi hata kuliko wewe mwenyewe. Kuna shida.
Hiyo ni dog eat dog world. There's nothing to be surprised about that. Ujue kwa between 140 people kuna simu mbili ama tatu, na si unaweza tumia saa zote.
Wait, trash. Wakati sasa umeingia Kamiti, ushaonyeshwa mahali ambapo unaenda kulala. Kumbuka kwamba mahali ambapo ulikuwa industrial, life ilikuwa different, ulikuwa usha adapt kidogo, ile ambao unalala vizuri, unakula vizuri. Now mahali umepelekwa Kamiti ni kama uko isolated, mahali uko. Kwanza wewe mahali mlikuwa ngapi mahali ulikuwa umewekwa? Wakati ulikuwa umeshasukumwa kwa department ile ya wasewa na detainiwa?
No, hiyo nilipelekwa when the British High Commission
came,
learned that I'm in prison. Kenya prisons walikuwa wamekataa kueleza that another British citizen is in prison.
So wewe mara ya kwanza ulikuwa umewekwa wapi?
Condemné.
When you say condemné, what do you mean?
Condemné means someone that has exhausted all appeals. Sasa huyo anagojea kunyongwa.
Right.
But Kenya has not been hanging anyone since Ochuka.
Aha. Now unatokaje pale condemn na kupelekwa kwa ile section ambayo ni ya detainees?
Okay, hapo sasa nika condemn A from December 2009 paka August 2010. Hapo sasa watu walikuwa wamejaa. So si kuna blocks zingine huko mbele.
Yeah. So
because watu wa condemn walikuwa wamejaa, even though we all had our appeals pending. So legally we were not supposed to be put in condemn A, but jela hakukuwa nafasi ya kutuweka. So tulipelekwa block G block, the infamous G block. Nikakaa huko for about a year and a half. I gave an interview to the Nation newspaper at the time, and the British High Commission, I stated in that I'm a dual citizen, and the British High Commission came to learn about it from that. So they came to see me, and they were already aware of detain, where prisoners like Chomli, Patni, ex-prison officers, ex-army officers stay, where the conditions are better. So I was shifted from condemn G to detain or punishment. It's got those two different names. If kama singekana the normal prison population at the time, hiyo miaka mbili or so, singejua vile wafungwa wanaishi. And everyone has a hope that my appeal will set me free. But then 2013 came along and I screwed up my life.
Wow. So umepelekwa pale department ya detainees. Tell us, how was the difference? Life ya pale kwenye wasio wamedetainiwa ikoaje tofauti na life ya condemn? Kuna tofauti
kubwa sana. Okay, so nikueleza, nataka in your mind I want you to calculate 3.5 single mattresses. Si unaonanga hizo ya blue?
Yes.
Ile tunakwanga nayo ya shule. Okay, jela inakwanga kama ya full scap ya inchi mbili. Tena ukilalia si inaenda dogo dogo. So unaweza kuta watu 14 wanalalia ya mattress 3.5. Whereby in detain unalalia bunk beds. Maximum 2 people per cell. Food wise wako na shamba yao. Weka kitunguu, spinach, sukuma, etc. Chakula unapewa mingi, like uko unapewa kapisi kadogo ya nyama hivi. In detain you are given hiyo dogo but piece 5. One big issue nilikuwa nayo pande ya food is that sheria inasema someone of my color anafaa kuwa na a different diet. the process to get that different diet is impossible. Actually, hiyo miaka zote nimekaa jela, to get something like rice was difficult. Now, the dietitian or the doctor that's prescribing the rice ni kama anatoa kwa nyumba yake anakupatia. You have to pay them for that so that you can get rice.
But ni chakula ambacho inatakana mkwe mnakula chenye prison imesema mkule, ama ni
rice ni part of diet?
Yes.
So jela imesema, but for the first time that nilikuwa nataka rice, yes, hata kama ni daktari, hiyo ujela imeingia kwake, hiyo akili ya askari ujela imeingia kwake. So anasema tu nipatie nikuandikie.
Now, condemn, umetoka, umeingia department ya detainees. Wewe kwako ulifeel ikiwa sawa? At least vitu zinaanza kuflow.
Hakuna kitu kama sawa jela. Freedom is priceless.
Yes.
But comfort iko kidogo. You know, it's like a maximum number of people tulikuwa huko is what, 12, 14 in a whole block. So ukitaka unaweza lala peke yako. There's lots of unajipikia. I told you walikuwa na shamba, wako na sukuma, spinach, etc. So they cook for themselves. It's clean because there's not such a huge population. Food is not an issue. And the biggest thing I liked about detain is because ni watu wako na uwezo. Like before me there was Patni and Chomli. But during my time there were other people whose names I can't say.
Yeah.
But prominent. Now si walikuwa nachotea serikali pesa. So there was no search. There was no that rigorous life that lazima wamuke ukabe like the rest of the prisoners. Here that everything that goes wrong wanakupiga. Ukipatikana na simu, they just leave it with you. None of that stress. The only thing huko sasa ni kupata marufuku kama sigara. You pay a premium.
Okay.
Na hapo sasa nilikuwa na askari wa Kingongo. The infamous Kingongo 7, 8, whatever they were. Because they were ex-prison officers, they know the workings. They know how the prisons department operates and can be manipulated. So I got a lot of training from them on how to survive.
Now, tell us, kuna wakati ambapo umetueleza kwamba ulifika mahali ukaanza ku-own a phone.
On a phone ilikuwa when I was taken from Condemn A to Condemn G, the infamous G block. About 600-700 people in the block. Again, your movement is restricted. You cannot go out of the block to the other blocks. But now because there's more people, contraband is more available. In the beginning, I refused. For the first month or so, I totally refused. And then someone comes up to me and anasema, nimeshika kamwindi, nataka umsalimie tu na kupatia 5,000. No, 10,000. Nani atakataa pesa? Spoke to the person. I don't even know whether he's a Gujarati, a Hindu, what language he speaks. Luckily, he was Hindi speaking, Punjabi. So I just told him whatever I had to say. In the next 20 minutes, huyu mtu anakuja anaipatia 10,000. At that time, the maximum limit on M-Pesa was 35,000 in 2010. He showed me 3 phones, 2 with 35,000 and 1 with 30,000. I wasn't doing anything. I was sitting around idle. sio 10,000 nikatumia, nikanunua simu. Kwanza nilianza hiyo ya M-Pesa that umewin 100,000. I'm sure that story is well known to Kenyans.
Yeah, sure.
So I don't want to go into that.
Sure.
One night, at that time I was still not a junkie. So one night nilikuwa nakaa tu, I'm like, hii story ya M-Pesa, it's the Safaricom M-Pesa story. It's become old. It's outdated. So I came up with something new. I said that if you want to steal from someone, if someone wanted to steal from me, being learned, how would I put that person into the box? And the only way to do that would be to attack them with something or get their attention with something innocent. And there's nothing as innocent as wishing someone happy birthday. So nikakaa for a week. I drafted a one-page, 160-character message.
Yeah, because message is that 160.
160, because you have a limit of, I think at that time it was 250. 200 or 250 that you could buy for 20 bob from Safaricom. And if you send more than that, then they start charging a shilling.
A shilling, yeah.
So, drafted the message, nikaanza. I sent the maximum limit. I got about 40 replies. And in Kenya, you know that the code that is well known, oldest, watu wako na do, ni 0722.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got those 40 odd replies and I started chatting with them. I didn't know how I'm going to steal from them or anything. I just started chatting with them. And the more you chat to someone, the more you get to learn about their mentality, how they think, what they want. And my message was drafted in such a way, or let me just read it out for you. It'll be a bit longer, but it was, happy birthday, my dear. How does it feel to turn a year older? Any luck finding me a partner? Your friend from the plane, na tena ile jina nilikuwa natumia. So when someone gets that message, anyone, they'd be like, it's not my birthday today. Or even if it is, I wasn't on a plane. Or even if I was on a plane, I didn't give my number to someone. So how or what is happening here? You've piqued, you've gotten their attention. And that's what you want as a conman. You want someone to pay attention to what you're saying. Started chatting with them. I chatted with them for about 2 weeks, all 40 of them. At the same time, nilikuwa naletewa wateja because by then people had known,
uko na phone.
Wacha mambo ya phone. My English is good. I talk like a Brit and you won't even know what I'm saying. Or I speak Hindi, I speak Gujarati. Mtu akishika mwindi kwa M-Pesa, hiyo story ya M-Pesa, anakimbia, sha, meshika mwindi. Hapo ni direct, akiangusha pesa, 50-50. Remember, yule mtu alikuwa amekula giriso, I should have gotten half. But it was my first job, hata yeye alinibeba kama fala. But it's okay, I learned. And one day sasa imekaa na watu for almost a month. Nakaa tu siku moja. They don't know where I am. They don't know where I am in Kenya or anything. We've just been chatting. Kasema wacha niwaingize box sasa. At that time, Kakuma ilikuwa inabamba. Nikasema, I started now revealing more about myself. That in Kakuma, the conditions are bad, etc. I need airtime. So they asked me, do you have M-Pesa? I said, no. So out of those 40, about, I think 22 wanitumia credit. From the lowest I think was 100, that the maximum was 15,000 as airtime. Said, okay, so here I'm building up on my story. the other 18 nikawachana nao, because kama hawezi nitumia airtime, kwani atanitumia pesa? Hiyo airtime nikauza, nikakula vizuri. I'm like, now it's time that I steal from these people. Now to steal from them, I didn't know, my Kiswahili still wasn't perfect. I only been in prison for 2 years, 2.5 years at the time. So nikashikana na mtu. I told him that heard your story. I told the mteja that I'm coming down to Nairobi. I've got a car, blah. Kufika pali fulani where even when I was up in that area in 2006 was totally remote, was marriage. I remember there was a petrol station. I still remember its name till today. So I called the muteja and I tell them that I've reached a certain place, I'm filling up gas. I filled up gas, but the attendant is trying to tell me something, na sielewi. So could you please speak to them? So huyu mtu tumeshikana nayo anamongelesha, anasema, persons come here. Now this is in Kiswahili. I've been speaking in English. Huyu amekuja hapo, anaweka mafuta na anaipatia card, like credit debit card, na sisi hatuna mashini ya kukubali. Person says how much, anamweleza. I think nilikuwa nagonga watu 7,200 per person at the time. Alisema sawa, wewe uko na M-Pesa? Ndio. Wacha tukutumie, umwachilie. See, that was the first one. First time. Sasa huyu ananichanua sasa. Huyu tunashikana naye. Kwani unawachilia mtu anakutumia pesa hivyo? 7,200. Tumechora, gari imepata shida. Namtandika tena. Unaenda tena, nimesahau card huko kwa station because nilikuwa nimechanganyikiwa, nimefika Kitale. Amefika maili 7. And sina pali ya kulala. Hoteli ni giri 10, whatever. So thinking about all of that, Yanza, and out of those 22 nilikuwa nimangusha tu kama watu 3 na watu 4, na watu 4 in total, wote walituma pesa na wote walinijenga about 350,000 kwa siku mbili. Ujue tunakanja half. Unfortunately kwa hawa watu 4, mmoja alikuwa ka mwalimu, a teacher, na hakukuwa na uwezo, as in deep in loans and all of that. Na sikuwa nimekula sana, I think it was 55,000. Sasa nitumia message tu akini throwing curses at me. So I went up to that guy, said, I've gotten these curses, si tumrudishie pesa yake. Sasa unajua mfungwa ni mfungwa. Nisema hatuwezi rudisha pesa. Ile tumekula. Kamtumia message. I told her that I don't have your money right now, but in the next week I'll have sent it back to you. Na that day nilikuwa nimeamua that sitaibia mtu hana uwezo. Because mimi nimekaa na mtu about a week, 2 weeks. You know they're inside out. Most of them are single. Because of that phrase in my message, I've said, have you any luck finding me a partner? And that is where they jump on. Nikafanya hiyo for about 6-7 months, nikajijenga. I sorted myself out pretty well at that time. I got a girlfriend while I was in prison. I'm with her till today, actually. And fungua account. You know, I didn't steal from her. You know, you get these instances in your life, unasema hata kama weni mwizi, sitaki kuibia huyu. Ramsey just told me, let it go. Just like friends. I didn't tell her in the beginning that I'm in prison. We started talking. After like a couple of weeks, I told her the truth. The following day, alikuja kuniona. Na paka leo.
Ako?
From, 2011. Tulijuana on the 14th of April 2011.
Mnaonana?
Tunaonana aje?
Ako, yani, kwani ulimwoa?
I said ni girlfriend paka leo.
Okay. You people, you meet even now?
Yeah. Hata kama ningekuwa na uwezo, we'd be staying together.
I'm sure she's watching you.
She'll watch it. Don't worry about that. She knows. She knows my inside out secrets. Yeah, she is the woman that alinitoa jela. Even though my family was against it. Yeye amesunguka koti zote in Nairobi akitaka kunitoa jela.
Huyu mtu ambaye amjuani ni mtu ambaye mmekutana through the phone.
Nikitaka kumibia.
Ukitaka kumuibia. Lakini amekuja akiwa kama angel wa kuweza kukusaidia maisha yako. This is amazing, eh? So alikuja jela. Siku ya kwanza.
Yeah, see, I told her, I think it was like 2 weeks after nilimtumia your message ya kwanza. Tulikuwa tunaongea usiku. You know, sasa nilikuwa nimeanza kujua kujipanga jela that okay. At that time smartphones were not available. Okay, they were available in prison, but ilikuwa tu kama unakumbuka ile Nokia slide. Ile ilikuwa na TV. Those were the smartphones available. Now they were damn expensive. So ilikuwa natumia Nokia 1202 kama unakumbuka. Or just chatting one night. I don't know just what came over me. I told her the truth. She didn't believe me at first, but she said, give me your real name. I gave her my real name. Alikata simu. Hakuniongelesha tena. The following morning, saa 3:30 nasikia jina yangu kuitana. Kuonana. And then, see from there.
How was her reaction when she saw you?
On that day, we just talked out normally, but she gave me one promise. I said, I'll turn this world upside down, but nitakutoa jela. And she did it. Kwa watu wote ya mashtaka yangu, when they've gone for resentencing, sitakueleza what the whole story of resentencing is. But Supreme Court in 2018 walitoa your ruling ya Muluwateto, and everyone applied for resentencing. Sasa Kome amekuja kufunga. I've gotten the shortest sentence for a murder convict, 20 years. Watu wote wengine ni 30 kwenda juu. I think tuko kama watu wa 4 tumepata hiyo 20. But hata watu wengine wametupiliwa hiyo muda, wamekaa remand. Mimi nimehesabiwa.
Wow. My viewers, ni maneno yake tu, anajaribu kupeana experience yake akiwa gerezani, chenye alipitia ndani. Unakumbuka kwamba ametuanzia akituambia kwamba alikuwa condemned, akapelekwa kwa detainees, akawa ni mtu ambaye amefungwa kifungo cha kifo, lakini as we speak now ni mtu ambaye ako free. Na I'm sure pale kwa comment section kuna maswali mingi ambayo maybe mnaweza taka kumuuliza. Tumeanzisha tu kidogo kidogo, lakini pale kwa comment section kuja utuambie nini ambacho unaweza taka tukimleta tena mara ya pili aweze kuongelelea, manake saizi anaguzia tu haswa life experience yake kule gerezani. So bro, nataka tu for the remaining minutes utueleze hapa pa kuibia watu kwa phone, ulikuja ukaacha ama ilikuwaje?
Okay, so wakati nipelekwa detain, huko hakuna mambo ya kuiba. but nilikuwa nimejipanga kidogo na hiyo pesa nilikuwa nimeiba, so I survived for the years that I stayed there. Nikapelekwa Naivasha because apili yangu ilitupwa 2013, 31st of July. Kurudi ndio siku nilijua that sasa maisha yangu kuisha. Hata sikuongelesha mtu. Nilikuwa najua ile ulevi inapatikana jela ni bangi. Nikaenda huko ndani kwa peddler, sema nipatie bangi. By then watu wote walikuwa wamejua that huyu ametupwa. Alisema najua vile unasikia, alinipatia heroin kama imechanganywa na bangi na sigara. Kavuta. Ile hai, you just wanted hiyo tu ulevi ya kusahau maisha vile iko. Tumia nikanunua kidogo, nikaenda nayo huko, nikavuta bangi mbele ya watu zote. Sasa watanifanyia nini? Sini my ex prison officers etc. After 2-3 days when I was still in it, hata sikuoga or anything, asikukuwa nakula, yangu tu ni heroin bangi sigara, heroin bangi sigara. Walienda walieleza officer in charge. The following day nikawekwa pingu, nikapelekwa Naivasha. Luckily sikukuwa nimetumia miandarati that nipate withdrawal. It was only for 2-3-4 days. Kakaa Naivasha for I think 3 weeks. Naivasha ni jela ya mateso, but hiyo tutarudi kwa hiyo. Girlfriend alichora, nikarudi Kamiti. Sasa walikataa kunirudisha detain, nikawekwa with the general prison population. Hapo sasa nilikuwa the devil's father. Nikaanza kuibia watu, na hiyo akili niko nayo. I speak different languages, as I've told you. I said that what is the point of mimi nishike mteja, nifanye kazi zote, kukaa naye for 2-3-4 weeks whatever, and then nikanje mtu pesa nusu. So hapo ndio sasa nikaanza kupolish upon my Kiswahili, anza kukua mzuri. Hapo pale nikajua that voice yangu haina bass sana, so nikaanza kuongea kama mwanamke. And going further, kaanza kukula hiyo pesa zote peke yangu. Shida ni pesa zote inaenda kwa miandarati.
Okay, let me ask you. I'm laughing because it's not a laughing matter, but ujanja inazidi kudevelop kila wakati. Unaposongeshwa kwa mateso, ujanja naye inapanda.
Hiyo kwa maisha. Sahi nikuulize, don't even think about it nikikuwa jela. As a human being, or even on the outside world, so that people can relate. Uko na job sahi, unapata mshahara ya 20,000. Kesho unavutwa kazi. Uko na mfuko bili ya ugali na sukuma ya 50 kwa nyumba ya kusukuma wiki moja, before upate pesa ingine ama uchore ama ujipange. Si uta make sure that hiyo ikusukume hiyo siku 5 ama wiki moja.
Yeah, sure.
So that's the same mentality you have in there. It's like selling ice to the Eskimos or snow to the Eskimos. You have to develop yourself and think about it. Yeah, mimi nafanya kazi yote and naiba pesa ya maana, and what's happening? Napatia mtu pesa nusu. For what? Then nipatia mtu pesa nusu kukuja kusema hiyo, and I can teach myself Kiswahili, I can teach myself to talk like a woman. Naweza niongee na accent kidogo ya Mkale. Why not?
Nataka utupeleke kidogo and then tumalizie hapo part 1, because I'm feeling we will go for part 2, part 3, part 4 tukiendanga. Now, hapo mahali ulianza kuongea kama mwanamke. Maybe just tell us, ulikuwa una twist aje voice na ulianza aje, na ya hit ya kwanza ilikuwaje?
Okay. Hi, my dear, how are you? How are you doing? Have you had lunch today? Do you have a wife? Do you have children? Remember, tumepatana na huyu mtu kwa plane allegedly. Sikueleza kwa message, nilikuwa nasema nimepata nambari yake from the plane and I picked his or her interest. Sasa vile nilikuwa nafanya, kama nimeshika chali naongea kama dem, kama nimeshika dem naongea kama chali, because the main thing about the message was that have you found me a partner yet? Na bado mimi ni Mwindi, so if I've gotten a Kenyan, see the sayings, once you go black you don't go back, bloody bloody blah. So just on that, and then you develop like mwanzo, as I told you, wakati naanza kuaibia hata sikukuwa najua ile direction nachukua. Kwanza I told you ilikuwa airtime, then it was M-Pesa. Sasa hapo direct nilikuwa nimetengeneza timetable yangu, natuma messages 2 days a week. Si sasa nimejipanga, nimenunua simu zingine, sasa niko na smartphone, nimeenda kwa web, nimetafuta picha ya wanawake, wanaume wakikaa on those roads. Kama niko kwa hiyo station pale mafuta imeisha, nitumia mtu mpaka huko, nikamtumia 25,000, enda uhire Land Rover Discovery 130, wenda utengeneze sticker ya MSF, Medicine Sans Frontières, an NGO that works in Kakuma. Enda unipigie picha kama uko kwa hiyo petrol station kama 10 na unitumia. Siaifanya hivyo. So even if someone wants evidence, I have it ready. But one thing I learned, kama mtu ako na pesa, anataka kuonesha wewe ako na pesa, hata hataki evidence, he'll take your word for it, or she'll take your word for it.
Bro, I think for today tutaanzia, tukikuja next tutaanza sasa kujua hapa hizi sauti za mwanamke ulikuwa unazifanyaje, unachangeaje ile sauti, kama ni ya mwanaume na ni lugha ngapi ambazo maybe ulitumia kuweza maybe tu kupata do. Tutaanzia hapo, and for now maybe if I may ask, as we finish part 1, how is your current life?
I'm not politically motivated, but this country is going to the dumps. I look at myself and other people that have come out from prison with, everyone suffering. Can't get a job because of good conduct. And if you do get a job, you're paid less. Life at the moment is crap. But as I said, if I could survive 13 years in prison, I can survive anywhere.
Wow. So I'm sure you have friends maybe who are watching you in country, outside the country, maybe back in India. Like now venye umesema kwamba kazi ni ngumu, wewe mwenyewe unafikiria kwamba ni nini ambacho maybe
nikueleza sasa, a month ago vile maisha ilikuwa imenipiga, nikasema wacha nianze mambo ya YouTube.
Yes.
Endo nitafutia at Mwindi Maskini. And you subscribe, unaweza niokoa sana.
Kuna channel?
Yeah, Mwindi Maskini.
Mwindi Maskini. Guys, let's go there. Kila mtu mwenye anaochi story, una pause, unaenda pale. Link yake nitakuwa nawekea pale kwa description. Endeni msupport huyu jamaa. Jamaa ambaye ako na story mingi na nitakuwa namleta tena na tena. And ni Mkenya, ni kala tu ambayo labda utaona ni tofauti kidogo, lakini ni Mkenya, ni mwenzetu. You know, let's support our brother. So maybe bro, niko sure kwamba kuna watu ambao wanaweza taka kuongea na wewe. Kuna watu ambao wanaweza taka kufikia wewe. Uko na any communication maybe unaweza tu drop pia, hata kama ni namba itakuwa nzuri. Kuna mtu mmoja amependezwa na story yako, anaweza taka kusupport, maybe kuna uwezo anataka kuongea.
Sitakupatia, unaweza weka kwa link.
ni attach kwa link waipate hapo.
Yeah, that's fine.
Right guys, maybe the last message for part 1 yenye unaweza taka kuambia mtu mwenye anauchi story.
Do whatever you can, usiingie jela. Kama unashikwa, maliza station.
Amaliza wapi?
Amaliza station. Tumia ile pesa uko nayo, hata kama ni kuuza plot uza, but usiingie jela.
Ni kubaya. Ni
kubaya. Ile mateso utapita. Wacha mambo. Najuanga majority of people wanaingianga jela ni mwanaume. Wacha mambo ya dem, wacha mambo ya chakula. Ile vitu utapita. Especially kama uko na skin brown kama mimi. Mwanaume akuja kueleza na kupatia giriso ulipanulia mguu yako, utakubali?
No.
Watu wanakubali. Iko mwanaume mwingine analala na cat.